Well, for more on what this latest food scare means for global companies and consumers in China, we are joined by Matt Turlip. He is the senior analyst at PrivCo, which provides financial data on private companies. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you. Happy to be here, Karina.
Well, let's start with this trust deficiency right now among Chinese consumers. As the report showed, until recently, Chinese consumers had more faith in foreign companies after a bunch of food scares in China. But do events like these taint the image of the foreign companies trying to do business in China?
I think this event really taints the image of the American companies, these prestigious American brands, Yum brand, which is KFC, McDonald's. That golden halo that had been there, that Chinese consumers had believed that these were better than the local brands, that's completely tainted. They had been suffering by a scandal in 2012, but at this point they had recovered from that, and they were the prestige brands that everyone would go to. And I think they're on an even playing field with more local Chinese companies as of this point.
Right. Now, you mentioned that they were sort of getting over the last food scare, so the timing couldn't be worse for McDonald's and Yum brands. A large proportion of their business comes from China. What is this going to mean for their earnings, their performance in the current quarter?
I think this is going to hurt their performance going forward because, as we said, as had been said prior, Yum, 50% of their revenue is coming from China, and China and the Asian markets were the only growing market segments for McDonald's when they reported yesterday. So going forward, this scandal is going to have an effect on the bottom line.
Now, I want to talk to you about what exactly McDonald's is going to be selling right now, because they basically had to pull all of their meat products, the same thing for Yum brands. So what products are they offering Chinese consumers, and are they going to want to go when they had so limited options?
So the Hussey plant was the plant that was closed, which is actually owned by a U.S. company, which is OC Group, one of the largest meat providers and largest private companies in the U.S. So that was one of their plants. They still have other plants throughout the U.S., throughout China, and those plants are still in operation. But it's the plant that was shuttered in Shanghai that is closed, and it's left local Shanghai McDonald's and Yum brand restaurants with limited supply, with McDonald's selling filet of fish.
Right. Not the most enticing dish. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about who sort of bears the most blame. Is it the local meat provider, Hussey, or in the case, is it the parent company that is most liable in situations like this?
It's going to trickle down to the local meat provider who's going to have to overcome this. But the parent company, OC Group, as I said, is a very large U.S. meat provider and has strict safety standards and has been known to had a reputation as a very safe, clean provider. And what they're going to do with this is they've already stepped in. They've working with local investigators, the U.S. representatives, to clean up this problem at the Hussey plant. And hopefully this will only affect the Hussey plant for OC Group and not all of China operations when the investigators come in.
It seems also that one of the problems is that the OC Group is the only provider of meat products to McDonald's in China, one of the only providers of meat products as well to KFC. It sounds almost like they had a monopoly on the meat market in China. Is that one of the reasons why maybe this happened? They just were knowing they had this market, they got overconfident and sort of overlooking some of their standard issues?
That is maybe one of the large issues that led to this. They've had a long-standing relationship, and when you're one of the sole providers and McDonald's is growing rapidly, they're concerned with getting a product at a quick, efficient, low price. And when you serve this up and you grow quickly, sometimes the quality may be sacrificed. So OC Group is going to have to step in and really make sure these quality measures are in place going forward.
And what is OC Group going to have to do to win over Chinese consumers after two scares? I mean, for McDonald's, for example.
After these two scares, I think it's going to be McDonald's that's going to have to win back over Chinese consumers. They're buying McDonald's products. They don't really know they're buying Hussey products. They don't know, or whatever factory that they may be coming from. So McDonald's will likely have to step in and reassure their consumers after time. I think the best move is to cut advertising for a while, kind of let the Chinese consumers heal for a bit, and then work their way back into being accepted and a proven safe food source.
And lastly, why have there been so many food scares in China recently, do you think?
I think that's the growth of these companies just trying to meet the supply and provide the low-cost product. But you would think with these large American brands that they would have that halo that they would be able to back up the halo that we discussed prior.
Okay, Matt, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
your thoughts on this. That was Matt Turlip. He's a senior researcher at PrivCo.